Alright, so this is part two. I got cut off from the last one. I didn't realize the time. But anyway, I was talking about Bradley Roby here on this 2-point conversion with the Patriots. The ball was tipped by number 21 and intercepted by Bradley Roby. He's number 29. His 29 adds up to 149. He's even born on the 122nd day of the year because it was a leap year. Also, he's the 31st pick in the draft. I mean, just see my previous posts on 31. Like lots of winning with 31. Even the Panthers beat the Seahawks. They were winning 31 to nothing at half. And then the last game, the score even added up to 31 and a half as well. Also, the Batman earthquake type theme. It's starting to get out of hand here. So during this game, TJ Ward got hurt. And the announcer said, Ward now added to the list of Broncos shaken up. And all I thought of was, yep, they're doing that earthquake thing. They did the same thing when the Broncos played the Steelers, and they said that Antonio Brown was Batman, and they're just waiting for the rest of the team to step up and not be Robins or something like that. Can't even remember why they would even say that. It makes no sense other than the coding of the Hines Ward in Batman when the stadium collapses and whatnot. But anyway, look at TJ Ward here. So what sticks out to me for one is number 43. The word Civil War adds up to 43. Lots of coding to the Civil War theme as well. Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln was even born on February 12th, 2/12. I mean, this guy was born on 12/12 of 1986. In San Francisco, of all places where the Super Bowl is going to be, he was even the 38th pick in the draft to Cleveland. I mean, Cleveland, the city is named after a guy named Moses Cleveland. I've talked about the connections to Moses and the Super Bowl in San Francisco. Moses equals 71. Super Bowl 50 equals 71. 12/12, I've talked about all the 12s before. Interesting too, I mean 43 is half of 86. Just throwing that out there. I mean, don't know if that really has anything to do with anything, but I mean the 38th pick of the draft, the Super Bowl's on the 38th day of the year. He even played at Oregon. I've made a lot of videos talking about Chip Kelly and even Howard the Duck and the Mighty Ducks and how it ties into Philadelphia and whatnot. Chip Kelly is now the new coach for the 49ers who are hosting the Super Bowl. But he really stuck out to me because of this scene in Batman here. Hines Ward, number 86 in The Dark Knight Rises. He was even born in 86, right? I mean, it's craziness. And I can't believe I never put it all together, but, after Denver beat the Patriots, it really came to me that the Batman shooting, or the theater shooting, was in Colorado, just like the Broncos. So it makes complete sense. I just cannot believe I never put that together before. James Egan Holmes adds up to 58, a number tied in with earthquakes. Over and over I've mentioned that. His name also adds up to, just James Holmes adds up to 120. Talked about Moses dying at the age of 120. He also killed 12 people in the shooting in 2012. Lots of 12 coding, 12 and 21. I said 12 seems to be the bad number and 21 seems to be the good number. But this year we also had the two theater shootings. We had the one that was at the Trainwreck movie, the Lafayette shooting at the Trainwreck movie. Trainwreck adds up to 122, just like San Francisco. Originally, they said that this John Russell Hauser guy who shot up the movie, they said that he was 58 years old, and then they later changed it to 59 years old. Also want to point out the original thing in this was 12 people were dead and 58 people were injured. Now I think it's like 70 people injured. But the original reporting was 58 people injured. Also interesting, John Russell Hauser, the guy who shut up the train wreck movie, his name adds up to 239. Once again, we're in the 239th year of the United States. I mean, it ties into the number 52, tons of stuff. The shooting happened at 7:27, and they even say here that they finished the processing of the crime scene at the theater on July 27th. 7:27. The shooting happened on July 23rd at 7:27. They finish up the processing of the crime scene on 7:27. Weird, you know? Super Bowl's played on 2/7 or 7-2, depending on where you live. This shooting was also exactly 3 years and 3 days after the James Holmes Batman shooting, and this shooting killed 3 people. Philadelphia is 333 years old. I mean, there may be something at Super Bowl this year, but I really think that there's something to do with Philadelphia. I think it's more about Philadelphia. So maybe there's just going to be coding at the Super Bowl that's going to tie into it, but it just really feels like I've seen so much stuff that connects to Philadelphia. So who knows? Could be completely wrong. Maybe there is going to be an earthquake in San Francisco, which would make a lot of sense, you know, because it's San Francisco. They could get away with it easier. Also, the Lafayette shooting, or the train wreck shooting, it was 7:23, but if you convert that Gregorian to Julian, or Julian to Gregorian, it's also the same as August 5th. And, you know, 8/5, the 58, the stuff I've mentioned with earthquakes and whatnot. Also on 8/5, then, we had another theater shooting at Antioch, Tennessee. And then, just days later on 8/7, James Holmes was sentenced. I mean, what are the odds of that? You had the 2 theater shootings right when James Holmes was being sentenced and all that. I mean, Abraham Lincoln died in a theater as well. Just think of that. Aurora, Colorado equals 67. Antioch, Tennessee equals 67. Lafayette, Louisiana equals 76, the mirror of 67 and 76, or whatever, you know. Also, the month of August was crazy with Batman references. It started on 8/15 at the Iowa State Fair when Donald Trump was giving helicopter rides, and he said that he was Batman. There was a big CNN article about it. Donald Trump saying he was Batman. Then the next day, the death of Morgan Freeman's granddaughter, and on Fox News they showed this picture here with the Dark Knight in the background. Morgan Freeman was Lucius Fox on Batman. So very interesting. Morgan Freeman even adds up to 67. Also, his granddaughter died on 8/16, and her name's Adina Hines, right? Hines Ward. Think about it for a second. I mean, Hines Ward instantly reminds me of that. Her death, or the Donald Trump thing to the Super Bowl, is 5 months, 23 days. Remember, 5/23, the 143rd day. Talked about that with earthquake and whatnot. This year, 5/22 is the 143rd day. And yeah, just go back and watch the David Blatt post, because he's even born on 5/22. Joplin, Missouri thing happened on 5/22. Tons of other stuff with it. Later on August 16th, Lenny B. Robinson, a guy who dressed up like Batman and went to hospitals, he died as well. So, I mean, we had Donald Trump on that Saturday. The next day, Morgan Freeman's granddaughter dies. The same day that the guy who dresses like Batman dies. Then the next day, on that Monday, Yvonne Craig, the lady who played Batgirl, died. I mean, come on, what are the odds of that? That is ridiculous. There's been so much other Batman coding all year. The guy who created the Batmobile died. Matt Harvey, the Dark Knight, right, lost the 111th World Series after not coming out of the game until he threw 111 pitches on 11-1. New York even adds up to 111. Then they lost the World Series, whatever. There's also even the kid wearing the Batman shirt who was touched by the Pope, who died. They even had the 9/23. He died. They had posted it on Facebook that he died at 9/23 or whatever. Tons of other Batman coding, for real. I mean, it's insane. Also, Morgan Freeman was in the movie The Sum of All Fears that had also starred Ben Affleck, who is going to be the newest Batman in Batman vs. Superman. Batman vs. Superman is even coming out on the 85th day of the year this year. In the movie The Sum of All Fears, just before there's a terrorist attack on Baltimore where they drop the nuke or whatever, or the nuke explodes, Morgan Freeman's at the football game with the president and whatnot, so just super interesting. Baltimore equals 41, Super Bowl equals 41, Broncos equal 41. Peyton Manning beat the Bears in Super Bowl 41. Interesting too, the first death in the Civil War was in Baltimore on April 19th of 1865. I mean, the same day Freddie Gray died and whatnot. Ben Affleck equals 83, just like football. He plays Jack Ryan in this movie. Jack Ryan equals 83. I said the theater shootings also tie into the Civil War domestic violence theme. You know, Lincoln shot in a theater. We've had all the Confederate flag stuff. Interesting Confederate flag adds up to 122 in Gematria. Even the race war. I mean, just tons of stories involving this. Captain America, Civil War is even coming out pretty soon. Batman vs. Superman is two good guys fighting, which it also comes out 47 days after Super Bowl 50. And remember in Super Bowl 47 when the power went out for 34 minutes, the game was on the 34th day of the year. When the power went out, the score even added up to 34 and the Ravens won with 34 points. Even this year in 2015, I guess, we had the blackout at the White House on 4/7. There was the blackout at the World Series this year. The power came back on with 40 after the 47th pitch. Super Bowl 47 was the Ravens versus the 49ers. You know, the 49ers are hosting Super Bowl 50. In The Dark Knight Rises, the other main guy they show, besides Hines Ward, is this guy, Ravenstall. He's the kicker. I mean, it just makes you think of the Ravens. Ravenstall adds up to 120, just like the age that Moses died at. I mean, also it's the sort of the colors of the Panthers, the blue and whatnot. Not necessarily, you know, but right before they blow up the stadium or the field, Bane says, "Let the games begin." Let the games begin adds up to 71, just like Super Bowl 50. Also, I mean, check this out. So this is the Ravenstall. This could be Justin Tucker, the Ravens kicker. Look at this. Issues with Levi's Stadium. The stadium has had repeated problems with the grass surface, including the grass collapsing under Baltimore Ravens kicker Justin Tucker during Week 6 game in 2015. This has led to concern that the stadium might not be of high enough caliber to host a high-stakes game such as Super Bowl 50. Interesting. The grass collapsed under the Ravens kicker? I mean, come on. That's pretty crazy. So the Ravens even lost in Week 6 to the 49ers, 20-25, which adds up to 45. Justin Tucker adds up to 45 and 171. The Mirrors, 1771. Super Bowl 50 is played on a date numerology of 45. I mean, Justin Tucker was also in Super Bowl 47. He is involved in the first fake field goal ever in a Super Bowl. Fake field goal adds up to 58. The yellow team on Batman is the Gotham Rogues. Gotham Rogues equals 149, just like Skull and Bones. And right before the stadium explodes, they even show you the 322, the number of the Skull and Bones. This is the guy who plays Bane in the movie, the guy who blows up the stadium, Tom Hardy. Tom Hardy equals 41, just like Super Bowl. He's 38 years old. Super Bowl's on the 38th day of the year. He's also in the new movie The Revenant, which involves a big bear attack scene again on Leonardo DiCaprio. He's also in Mad Max, and Mad Max is where the Antioch theater shooting was on April or August 5th this year. So interesting. We also got the story of Jimmy Bain, the bassist in Rainbow and Dio. He died on January 24th this year. I mean, you just can't make this stuff up, though. His first band was even called Wild Horses. I mean, a bronco is an untamed horse, a wild horse. So, I mean, just ridiculous. You know, also with all the Lupercalia coating that I've talked about so much, it just makes me think of wolf's bane. I mean, it's this plant here that kills wolves and whatnot. Just interesting, fitting with the sacrifice of the wolf and the celebration of the wolf. Also interesting that Bane, like the baby name Bane, actually means pale bridge. You know, a white bridge. Just lots of foreshadowing to bridge. The Ben Franklin Bridge, the fake Bridgewater shooting this year, the Golden Gate Bridge. Alright, but running out of time, I'm just going to make another part. See you in part 3.